Prince Philip Wake, who went to the wake after Duke's funeral. 15 mourners picked by Queen. Prince Philip's loved ones said their final farewell to him at his funeral on Saturday, April 17, but who was able to attend the wake. Prince Philip's family were able to bid him a final goodbye on Saturday during a heartbreakingly beautiful day in Windsor. The Duke of Edinburgh died on April 9, and a week and a day later his family gathered for his funeral service. The Queen sat at a social distance from her children, grandchildren and Prince Philip's German relatives. 30 members of Prince Philip's family attended his funeral service at St. George's Chapel in Windsor. The televised funeral service saw Prince Philip's coffin brought to the chapel in a specially modified Land Rover he had helped design. Selected members of the royal family walked behind the coffin as it traveled the short distance to St. George's Chapel. After the procession, but before the service began, a minute's silence was undertaken across the nation. During the service, the Queen sat alone, in accordance with coronavirus restrictions, with her eldest son sat opposite her and Prince Andrew sat 2 seats to her left. The ceremony reflected the Duke of Edinburgh's keen interests in nature, God, the sea and the military. All of the mourners inside the chapel wore face coverings during the service. The congregation was barred from singing during the service, but a quartet of socially distanced singers performed the music. The Archbishop of Canterbury and Dean of Windsor led the service, thanking the Duke for his resolute faith and loyalty, for his high sense of duty and integrity, for his life of service to the nation and Commonwealth, and for the courage and inspiration of his leadership. In addition to the clergy and choir, the funeral service was attended by mourners. Unlike original plans which would have seen about 800 guests at the funeral ceremony, Prince Philip's funeral was limited to just 30 mourners, in keeping with coronavirus guidance. The guest list for the funeral included the Queen, the Duke's children and grandchildren, the spouses of Prince Philip's children and grandchildren, Prince Richard, Princess Alexandra, Prince Edward Duke of Kent, Prince Bernhard, Prince Donatus, Prince Philip, David Armstrong-Jones, Lady Mountbatten, Lady Sarah Chatto, and Daniel Chatto. For wakes, the limits are different and just 15 guests were permitted to attend this event. Not much is known about the wake, or if one was held at all. Alongside the Queen, it is likely she would have invited her nearest and dearest to any possible reception after the service. The 15 guests thought to have been invited to the wake include the Queen, Prince Charles, Camilla, Duchess of Cornwall, Prince William, Kate, Duchess of Cornwall, Princess Anne, Prince Harry, Peter Phillips, Zaratinda, Prince Andrew, Princess Eugenie, Princess Beatrice, Prince Edward, Sophie, Countess of Wessex, Princess Alexandria. From April 12, just days before Prince Philip's funeral, the rules related to wakes rose to 15 from the 6 people. This new allowance applies to both indoor and outdoor wakes and does not include any staff members working at the event. The government guidance outlines many may wish to delay commemorative events until restrictions have been lifted. It is possible the Queen has opted for this choice and will hold a larger-scale event once lockdown restrictions have eased further.